Hey, they work. Oh no, camera fell over. Oh no, okay, we're good. Hello, I'm that James guy, and this is my 2021 Mazda CX-5, technically 2021.5. Yes, there is such thing. It was like a nav update back in the day, but oops, I'm off track. Anyway, today we're gonna do the brakes. It's got like 60,000 kilometers on it, which is around 40,000 miles. I know that's not very much, but for the last 10,000, 15,000, I don't know, I've been ignoring it because I don't drive it very much. My wife does. Anyway, it pulsing brakes, pulsing steering wheel, and I think it's not from overheating. I think it's just because these brakes tend to rust really easily if you kind of let them sit outside, and then to get this rust patch behind the pad, and then I think it just kind of winds up being all pulsy after a while. That's what I think happens. I bought these fancy Mazda parts like 8 months ago, and I just haven't put them in yet. They're like sitting under stuff, collecting dust. Hopefully they're not all, you know, rusty or anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and just get this thing up on the ramps real quick, pull the wheel. We'll start at the front, work our way around, I guess. We'll do the fronts, then the backs. It's just a simple brake job, guys. I'm not doing anything special. Now would be a good time to put new brake fluid in. Brake fluid is often neglected, but we're gonna save that for another video. I'm in a hurry. I have to travel to Spokane tomorrow, which is like a 3.5-hour drive through the mountains. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my winter tires, which live up on the wall there. I'm gonna put those on. I know it's only early November, but I am heading through a sort of big mountain pass. Yeah, we're doing that tomorrow, so may as well get them on. And if I have to, you know, swap them back over onto summers, I probably won't. But, you know, I've had those winter tires for 2 seasons, and there's like no tread wear on them at all. Blizzax. Kind of weird, right? Anyway, let's get started. All right, real quick top tip before you jack the wheel up in the air, always loosen up the lug nuts while the car's still on the ground. Like, not all the way off so that the wheel falls off or anything, but it's so much easier to loosen them off when the car's not moving, right? See, just like that. Yeah, I know it's not a real jack point, but I don't care. We're gonna use a jack stand underneath the jack point. So you wouldn't want to work on it now because there's no jack stand. There is now a jack stand underneath the jack point. So don't be hating on me or anything. Oh, we're getting close, folks. I don't know if you can see that there, but oh, we're almost at the worn out bar. I think springtime, it's going to be time for tires. I got this thing positioned in such a way that you can kind of see what's going on. Enough light in here. All right, so my fancy dancy extendable ratchet. Here's the 2 bolts that hold the caliper on. That was tight. Okay, got that one moving. And then this one down here. Hopefully my ugly face isn't in the way of the camera. That was real tight, but that's okay. Oh yeah, look at that. All nice and greasy so that the caliper can wiggle around. I should put that on a paper towel. Now the top one, making a little boonk noise. And these things are exactly the same as each other, so no they're not. The one from the top is longer. So if you're doing brakes on a CX-5, remember that. Getting this thing apart should be easy. Just need a prying tool. And what you want to do is you want to just deflect it enough to cause the pistons in the caliper to move in to give you a little bit of space. See how it's a bit loose like that? A little bit of pressure loosens it right up. Pushing those calipers in a little bit. Don't want to go too much. You're going to over flood your brake reservoir because it's actually pushing fluid back towards the brake reservoir when you do that. And that brings me to the next part. I know you've seen some reels, everybody has, where Chevy puts a nice little thing in the frame rail for you to clip your brake caliper onto, but that doesn't look like Mazda's done a nice thing like that for us. So we'll just pull this out of here, take a bit of a look at it for inspection purposes. Maybe we can just prop this up here. All right, and the brake pads just pop out. Yoink. Look at all that meat on there. That's just a crying shame. I don't have a manual for this car, so we're just going to try and keep those things somewhat oriented somewhat correctly. I'm assuming the pads will have new little clippies. Should probably check though. Genuine Mazda parts, which might have been a mistake. Okay, well, there are clippies. Oh, Mazda even comes with little, like, the little lubey stuff for the backside. Oh, I like that. Well, this is the only clippy thing that they came with, and it looks like that's where that goes, is the little clippy thing right there. Came with 2 of those. Not these clippy things though. So we're gonna have to smear that, clean that up with a brush and then deal with it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the brackety thing off so we can get our disc out of the way. All right, we're gonna go with more of a hero ratchet scenario this time. My big guy, my big snap-on swivel-headed thing. I'm gonna go ahead, I mean, I could probably use an impact gun on here, but I don't think my little Milwaukee will do it. Oh, there we go. Universal impact. Brake, disc removal. I'm gonna give this a little shot of penetrating oil. This little guy should screw right in there. Well, that's not working, is it? Oh, something moved. There we go. Isn't that nice? Things coming apart all nice. And there's my old disc. You can see the ABS sensor right here. Not something that should affect. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and clean this up in here a little bit. Clean up the caliper bracket and go from there. All right, safety first, folks. Look at this gorgeous specimen. It's like plated with zinky stuff. I don't know if the originals had that, to be honest, because the way they always rust it up so bad. But anyway, here we go. Yeehaw. The way that beautifully sits on there. No wobble to it. I think I got everything off that I needed to get off. Now let's clean up our caliper bracket. Oh, that seems amazing. Let's just put a little bit of lube on the caliper bits. Right there, right there, right there. It's kind of in there-ish. And on this side, a little bit of lube, never hurt. Alrighty then. Try and get this all started. All we need is a torque spec. It says on the internet that the dual piston front calipers for the turbocharged Mazda is 62 to 68 foot-pounds. Oh, that felt good. Torque twice for safety. Wow, there wasn't that much left on the inner pad. Interesting. So we'll put this gizmo on there. I'm assuming it's some sort of a wear indicator. Like that, I guess. Oh, I don't know. Whatever. That is now on. Brake caliper is in position. That was awkward. Let's kill the awkward light. There we go. Let it readjust. And then this one should, if all goes well, okay, that's easy. And into place, push. Here we go, we're seated. We will try to push these guys in together. There we go, they're moving. They moved a bunch. Look at that. Now it goes on. Beautiful. Top one first, put a little bit more grease on this pin so that it slides all nice like it should. Let's just pop that in there. And now the other one. And now 65, because these are dual piston calipers, apparently. All right, rotation that way. We are good. All right, that's on. We can lower the car down onto the ramp, and then we'll quickly do the other side. Guess we should probably torque it first. These are 80. Now, before we do the other side, so that it don't flood the brake reservoir, we're gonna go ahead and pump the brakes a little bit and seat the pad. It'll probably be quite a soft pedal while it kind of builds up. Oh yeah, that went a long way. Pump it a bunch of times, and then we'll move on to the other side. All right, let's pause for a second and confess. These are the pads from the left side of the car, and I noticed when I was doing the right side of the car, these little tin things, they're on the back side of the pads. I didn't swap them over. So like, you know, we'll cut to the car being switched around so I can do the rears, but just so you know, you gotta switch these things over like I did on the right side. Now, I'm gonna go redo the other side, and then cut to the car coming off the ramps. The other thing is, you'll notice when I was trying to remove the drum or the disc from the right side, that my bolt to push it off snapped, and I took a large hammer that was the key there. Big Bertha got used on this disc, so I smacked it a whole bunch of times and it just popped off. So maybe I'll just keep smacking them instead of using the stupid bolt like you're supposed to. Anyway, cut. Okay, on to the rears. Now, something about a service position for the emergency brake, e-brake, motor, I don't know. Just gonna see what happens if I pull it off. These are far less torqued up. These ones only go to 25 foot-pounds on these calipers. So, I don't know. Hoping that no big springs or anything come flying out of here when I, you know, take this off. Oh, that's a little bolt. Okay, well then the sliders are built into the caliper bracket then, I guess. Okay, quite a bit of tension there that I don't like. I'm just hoping that nothing's gonna come flying out of here. Going blind, folks. Maybe I should Google this, or maybe use AI. Would AI know? All right, I did some more Googling. Let's just see here. Let's turn the car on. Apparently this works. I'm gonna hold the parking brake down. I'm gonna floor it. I'm floored. Hold the parking brake down. Turn the car off. And then I'm going to press the stop start button 3 times. Oh, I hear stuff happening. So now if I turn the car back on, should be like a warning that I'm in maintenance. Look at that! Maintenance mode. Park brake exclamation mark. Radar cruise control disabled. Of course I'm getting lots of crap. I heard a bunch of noises coming from the back at the motor. So I think we're good to go now. This should be in maintenance mode. Let's try getting some clearance. Oh, it's moving. Oh, it worked. Maintenance mode worked. See how loose it got? And then we need to find a place to kind of put this without wrecking anything. Well, that's awkward. All right, good enough. We have a lot of brake pad back. Not that much brake pad back here. You see here, there's not that much. We're definitely going to remember to swap this over this time. This little platey thing. Oh, that's tight. Then there's this brackety thing. And then we can nail this drum off of here. This time it's getting the good stuff. It's getting some gear oil, not just penetrating oil. Oh, there we go. That was easy. Better than last time. Look how small these things are. They're just tiny. Like thin metal. It's so crazy to me. and then torquey. A little bit less. We're gonna go 70 on this one. I know I should be working in Newton meters, but whatever. That's tight. Now this old snap-on, old school, first kind of generation digital torque wrench has been awesome. I used it in the trade for years. There's two different types of pads, one inner, one outer. You can see how they're backwards to each other. Now, you can see this little plate on the back. Got to transfer that over. Didn't show you that before because I kind of didn't know about it, I guess. That's it, look at that. That goes onto that one, just like that. Well then, that seems kind of right. This one's just got a little tiny one that we just got to move over, kind of like that. This was always the fun one, because there's like a side springy loaded thing you gotta get it into. Well, that wasn't so bad. It's on. Look at this piston. We're gonna try and push that in a little bit. There it moves. Let's just set this on. And it's in place. 25 foot-pounds. Super duper. All right, I finally got it to work. I think when I turned it off, I wasn't being quick enough. I'm sitting there messing around, watching another YouTube video, trying to figure it out, and I finally got it. Floor it, hold the park brake up, turn it off, and then hit it 1, 2, 3 real quick. If you wait more than a couple seconds, then it doesn't work. So anyway, I heard a bunch of noises coming from the back corners of the car, and we're good to go. Brake's been pumped a million times. This thing's all back together. We're just gonna quickly go, and we gotta check the brake fluid on her now, don't we? Level is like right at the top. So like all the wear we had in our brake pads, you know, as they move in and more, the level's gonna go down, but we've just pushed it all back up. So it's looking a little brown. Probably gonna have to change this brake fluid real soon, but I don't have time for that. Let's take this thing for a quick rip around the block to make sure nobody's gonna die while we're driving it. All right, whenever you do brakes, always take the car out. Always test drive. Do a couple brake applications before we even leave the garage. They work, that's good. And test the park brake. Whoop, okay, that's working. And we'll do a couple big, massive brake applications just to make sure that we're good to go, right? Okay, get some speed. And we're gonna crank the brakes on. Hey, they work. Oh no, camera fell over. Oh no, okay, we're good. All right, it is the next day. I am in Washington heading to Spokane. Driven it around a little bit, new brakes. I don't know, we went golfing today, saw a bunch of wildlife, and, you know, lost a lot of golf balls. But drove the car around, brakes feel amazing. No pulsing, no nothing. So that's it, fixed. I'm about to head through a mountain pass. It's not a very big one. It's a decent one though. And I don't know. I think that's it. I think we got her. So next we'll do the brake fluid, as I've said. And yeah, I hope you found this useful or at least mildly entertaining. I will see you next time.